At the end of Solomon's reign, the unified kingdom of Israel had reached its peak of wealth, but the citizens living across this vast, arid territory were completely exhausted. Now, a young new king named Rehoboam inherits a wealthy but highly fragile state. The seasoned elders who advised his father saw the mounting tension. They offered Rehoboam a simple strategy to stabilize the nation: lower the taxes, ease the labor burdens, and serve the people. They promised that if he adopted the mindset of a humble servant, the citizens would be loyal to him forever. Rehoboam flatly rejected the veterans. He turned instead to the young men he grew up with, who gave him the exact opposite advice. They told him to double down, threaten the citizens with even harsher punishments, and rule strictly through intimidation. He took their advice to the letter. The backlash was instantaneous. 10 of the 12 tribes outright rebelled. In a matter of days, the once unified nation of Israel fractured, splitting permanently into a northern and a southern kingdom. In a single afternoon of pride, Rehoboam dismantled the unity his predecessors spent decades building. His arrogance became the wedge that foreign armies never managed to drive into the heart of the kingdom. Unwilling to accept the loss of his empire, Rehoboam immediately did what cornered rulers do. He mobilized for war. He amassed an army of nearly 200,000 soldiers, intending to march north and force the rebellious tribes back under his thumb in a bloody campaign. But before a single sword was drawn, the prophet Shemaiah intercepted the king. He delivered a blunt command from God, ordering the massive army to stand down and go home, stating clearly, "This thing is from me." This diagram illustrates the dual reality of this historical moment. On the ground level, you have the erratic, chaotic nodes of failing human politics. But above that sits a highly ordered, static structure. The political disaster tearing the nation apart was simultaneously God's righteous discipline on a kingdom slipping into idolatry. God allowed Rehoboam's pride to play out, yet completely overruled his military ambitions. The march of an army was brought to a dead halt by a single decree. Human leaders often hold the illusion that they shape history through military force, but true power rests with a sovereign who quietly directs the timeline of nations, demanding obedience over violent conquest. Up in the newly formed northern kingdom, Jeroboam now sat on the throne. God had explicitly promised to secure his dynasty, yet Jeroboam was consumed by deep, paranoid political insecurity. His problem was geography and tradition. Look at the sheer scale of these retaining walls. The temple, the absolute center of Israelite worship, still sat down south in Jerusalem, deep in rival territory. Jeroboam calculated that if his citizens regularly traveled back there to worship, their loyalty would eventually revert to Rehoboam, so he engineered a highly convenient alternative. He built local shrines, like the foundation seen here, erected golden calves, and told the people that traveling to Jerusalem was simply too difficult. He offered them local worship on their own terms. While framed as pragmatic statecraft, this policy masked a severe spiritual deception. It actively pulled the Israelites away from genuine truth, luring them into demonic idolatry behind the appeal of an easier commute. Substituting absolute truth for worldly convenience transforms worship into nothing more than self-centered idolatry. The physical legacy of these decisions is written in the rubble. These ruined walls are what remain of systems built on pride and fear. By establishing a false, state-sponsored religion, Jeroboam locked the northern kingdom into a trajectory toward total collapse and exile. These ancient stones serve as a historical preview. Any institution or man-made regime that sets itself against divine truth carries an expiration date, ultimately facing final, divine justice. We look at Rehoboam, crushing his people with arrogant pride, and Jeroboam, manipulating his subjects out of desperate insecurity. Their massive failures expose a void, highlighting the specific character traits a leader needs to actually sustain a people. While these ruins represent the ceiling of human leadership, they also define the specific qualities missing in a fractured nation. The people needed a king with the humility Rehoboam lacked and the security Jeroboam threw away. A profile that the biblical narrative sees fulfilled in the person of Jesus, the servant king. There is a sharp warning here for modern institutions and individuals alike. We must actively reject the temptation to water down truth or alter principles merely to secure political power or cultural convenience. The fracture of Israel suggests that when we prioritize status or political safety over truth, we lose the very thing that makes the community sustainable, the presence of God.